Good morning, Malta and Gozo, and welcome to another episode of Lovin Daily. My name is JP, and today I'm joined by Ben. Ben, it's your last Lovin Daily with us. How do you feel?
It's been an honor to be here. But yeah, let's move on to the 5 stories of the day. What do you think, James?
Absolutely. So the 5 stories for today are: PN sets major shadow cabinet reshuffle. Junior ministers show solidarity with racially abused Maltese football player. Joseph Muscat made 100 million promise to Steward after pressure from exposed Maltese bank. Not all students will be failed for University of Malta cheating ring. And make contraceptive COILS free so every woman can afford them, Maltese pharmacists say. Ben, you want to take it away?
Sure. So the first story of the day, the PN is set for a major shadow cabinet reshuffle. So more than 100 days since Bernard Grech was elected as PN leader. Yesterday, our newsroom was informed that Grech was finally meeting with MPs and internal party figures to iron out their new shadow cabinet roles. Previously, Bernard Grech had reportedly said that his shadow cabinet would include Adrian Delia, the former PN leader. However, reportedly, Adrian Delia had turned down Grech's offer. On the other hand, the Prime Minister Robert Abela and Labour Party leader Robert Abela had reshuffled his cabinet back on the 21st of November, and this reshuffle brought about a few very interesting changes. This reshuffle introduced a couple of new portfolios, namely the Ministry for Research, Innovation and the coordination of the COVID-19 strategy, as well as a Ministry for Inclusion and Quality of Life. Of course, some people, namely Sylvia Parnis, who was previously Parliamentary Secretary for Active Ageing, lost their portfolio through this reshuffle.
Yeah, discussions are going on today at the PN headquarters to see who will form part of the new cabinet reshuffle. It's not expected we'll get a result until the end of the week, but stay tuned to Lovin Malta to keep up to date. Obviously, this reshuffle comes in what is a lot of people are expecting to be a general election either sometime this year or early next year. So it's quite monumental for Grech, and he could start introducing some major changes to the PN's party administration in the lead up to the general election. Moving on to our second story, junior ministers show solidarity with racially abused Maltese football player. Parliamentary Secretary for Sports Clifton Grima had condemned the racist behaviour and language hurled at a Maltese football player during a under-90s match. Over the weekend, Maya Lucia was abused by allegedly parents from an opposing team during a match. This has since gone viral, and a lot of people from all walks of life have condemned actions, including Clifton Grima and Parliamentary Secretary for Equality Rosiane Kutaya. Grima said on Facebook, or he told Lovin Malta, that such sheer ignorance from adults who should know much better and be an example for our younger generation. The Malta Football Association also condemned these acts and will be investigating this further, and a police report has been filed, and names have been submitted to the police with regard to who it might have been that hurled such racial abuse. Obviously, it's a terrible thing to happen today in 2021, especially in sports, where a lot of equality is preached day in and day out. But it's good to see that our junior ministers are standing up to this, and not just the junior ministers, our politicians, our the governing organizations, and just people in general are standing up and speaking out against this, and see that these people who did hurl these racial abuse are just a minority.
Of course. Unfortunately, not too long ago we had another instance where an alleged racist attack took place during a football match, this time involving Birkirkara FC player Paul Mbong. Of course, the attack was never actually confirmed, it was always alleged. However, it has been a while since we've heard of any updates in that case. Moving on to the third story of the day, former Prime Minister Joseph Muscat made €100 million promise to Steward after pressure from exposed Maltese bank. So yesterday, former Prime Minister Muscat was in court to face off former PN leader Adrian Delia. Now, this is all because Delia had sued the government over its long-term leasing of 3 Maltese hospitals to Vital's Global Healthcare, VGH. Now, what had happened was that the VGH group had ended up running into financial difficulty, and therefore it has sold its shares to the US company STEWARD. Now, in court yesterday, there were a lot of back and forth between Daily and Muscat. Both were in very good form. Daily put forward some very good arguments, and Muscat, however, had some very good responses to them. However, Joseph Muscat also confirmed that the government had agreed to pay VGH €265 million over a period of 5 years. Now, from this huge amount, half of it was spent on staff salaries. From the €138 million left over, around €20 million was paid on VAT, and the remaining €118 million was spent on other costs, electricity bills, medicine, and outsourcing labour.
The former Prime Minister did struggle to explain what investments Vital, later known as STEWARD, carried out besides the construction of a medical school in Gozo, an orthotics and prosthetics unit at St. Luke's and Cangrek, an air ambulance in Gozo and a clinical lab, and a new orthopedics ward with 8 beds and an expanded ITU in Gozo, however. Moving on to our fourth story of today. Not all students will be failed for University of Malta cheating ring. So this obviously follows on from a story we covered earlier this year with regards to students who belong to the Faculty of Economics, Management and Accountancy, who were all told that they had failed the exam after it was exposed that there was a messenger chat where students were sharing answers during the exam. The university at the time had taken a harsh decision to fail everyone in the exam. However, a new disciplinary board had been formed following protests by students and student organizations, and the board decided to backtrack on its decision to automatically fail the 250 students after the cheating ring was discovered. Basically, what they said was, so the new board spoke to all students involved, specifically in the chat, and will not only be penalizing those involved in the cheating ring. It said it had spoken to the students involved, and those involved obviously will be penalized, but those who were found not to be cheating in the ring will have their grades readjusted. It says, and I quote, "In these cases where it transpired that the students indeed colluded with others, the board reprimanded them for the example behavior. These students were further penalized by having their original marks deducted according to the degree of severity of their collusion." So obviously a variety of punishment is going to be handed out, but it's good to see that they removed a blanket decision to ban everyone from, to fail everyone from the test. Obviously there's some students out there who had worked hard for the test, who had done it, who had taken it without any collusion, so it obviously wasn't fair to them. But obviously those who were involved in the cheating ring had this coming to them.
Now, with that, we move on to the fifth and last story of the day. Make contraceptive coils free so every woman can afford them, Maltese pharmacists say. So, Chief Pharmacy Lobbyist Mario De Bono yesterday said that the contraceptive coil should be added to Malta's essential medicine list, essentially making it free. De Bono said, and I quote, "There should not be a single woman who can't afford contraceptives." Now, speaking of contraceptives, a number of key Maltese activists and politicians had previously called for the oral contraceptive pill, most commonly just referred to as the pill. They had called for it to be put on Malta's essential medicines list. However, when questioned about this, Mario De Bono disagreed because he said that the pill is often patient-specific and condition-specific, so you can't, I believe, just give it out for free. Having said that, despite his very liberal views on contraceptions, De Bono drew the line at abortion. Jay, Malta has witnessed quite a worrying pill shortage in the past.
Yeah, absolutely. So Lovin Malta has covered this topic quite extensively in the past, speaking to several women who had shared their struggles with the shortages of different contraceptive brands in Malta. Obviously, taking consideration that a lot of these contraceptive brands aren't just used as a means to avoid pregnancy, but when it comes to women, they're used to deal with many other conditions, including PCOS and acne, but these pills have been out of stock for months, which is very worrying indeed when you come to think about it, because obviously they're not used just for contraception but for other medical needs. So it becomes more crucial when that's taken into consideration. With that being said, this brings us to the end of this episode of Lovin Daily. From me and Ben, we hope you have a day full of lovin'.